Hi guys, welcome to Tech Today. Well, we brought you out in the rugged outdoors, and I don't usually wear two wearables unless I am reviewing them for you on the show. And that's what we're doing in this particular episode, the Garmin 265 Forerunner, a new product from Garmin. And yes, it looks like a runner's watch, but I just wanted to see whether this can replace my existing wearable, which is usually an Apple Watch, and what are the benefits of using a Garmin watch. And I also want to figure out whether some of that data is helpful for maybe amateur athletes like me who aren't into marathon running, but who also play sports like football, go out swimming. So we need metrics from there. And well, the Garmin has a lot of those sensors, but then how is that data put out to the consumer and how helpful is it? That's exactly what we want to discover on this episode of Tech Today. Well done. See, now that's the beauty of playing the sport of football, but one thing that really doesn't work with the Garmin 265 is it doesn't come with a football mode. Now what that means is you've got to put it in cardio or in indoor running or something like that. We've tried playing football often with that particular mode on the Garmin and the football mode on in the Apple Watch Ultra, and it doesn't always work out the same. That is one thing, as a football fan and someone who plays a lot of sports, I wasn't too happy with the Garmin. They need to come up with a football mode which gets that sort of movement, because if you're a marathon runner or an athlete, then you can run in one direction in one particular pace, one particular speed. But when you are using the Apple Watch, it's non-steady movement in football. So I'm going to run very quickly and then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to decelerate, I'll pass the ball and run. That's how the best footballers play. And for that, the Apple Watch is a much better companion. Now, of course, this particular watch comes with an Amoled touchscreen, which is great in brighter environments and in darker environments. But yes, in terms of the display and the user interface, it's not as intuitive as other watches. But once you get used to it, the data that it gives on the Garmin app is unparalleled. Now, another really good feature with Garmin smartwatches happens to be battery life. Yes, this comes with an AMOLED screen, but even if you compare it to an Apple Watch Ultra, which gives you nearly 36 hours of battery life, and this is the expensive Apple Watch, a standard Apple Watch would give you less than 18 hours and then strap it back on to a charging port. The Garmin watch, this particular one, gives you nearly 18 hours with GPS mode on for running. So that's amazing, and can give you nearly half a month, 13 to 15 days in standard mode. Now, that's your normal watch mode. Just think about it. Half a month, max to max a couple of days. And this is just the Garmin Forerunner, which is meant for performance athletes and running. If you're talking about the Fenix 7 Solar, which is even more expensive, and we had it exclusively on Tech Today, using solar power, it had a film on top of that Garmin watch, which would then mean that it could last for several weeks without a charge. Just leave it on the windowsill on a nice hot summer day here in Mumbai, and it charges itself. That's the sort of technology and innovation we want to see across the wearable space, and maybe even across the technology and personal technology space. Now, I told you about training readiness, which is a really cool feature which comes with high-end Garmin watches. It comes with this particular watch as well, which tells you that, hey, your body has recovered, your body battery is so. If you are low, then you need some more time for recovery. It uses a very complex algorithm to give you that metric. But there's also a morning report feature, which I find kind of cool. When you wake up in the morning, it gives you a bunch of things. It tells runners that, hey, what was your previous night's sleep quality? What is the body battery index? HRV status for heart health, recovery time, and of course it also gives you workout suggestions for this particular training day. And that's why the Garmin is perhaps not a watch just purely for tech enthusiasts, but it is a watch for people who are very serious about their training, running. In fact, we've used the Garmin watch even for our yoga workouts along with the Apple Watch, and they have given nearly 99.9% similar results. So when you're talking about accuracy, if you thought the Apple Watch was the gold standard, not just for running but for other workouts as well, well, the Garmin watch gives you precisely the same values. Even for heart rate measurement, it gives you almost the same values in terms of BPM. Yes, the Apple Watch has an ECG feature because the Apple Watch is not only directed towards fitness and training. It's also more of a lifestyle gadget and, of course, a health-centric gadget as well. So there's a lot of things in terms of health metrics that the Apple Watch can do within the Apple ecosystem especially. The Garmin watch is very interesting because in terms of sensors and accuracy and portraying or depicting that data, it does a stellar job as well. Now what's really interesting is while I was doing this particular piece to camera, the Garmin watch just beeped saying time to sunset is another 10 minutes. That means I have 10 minutes to wrap up this shoot. The sun's setting in the background, but we're trying to tell you exactly what this watch is all about. It has all sorts of really cool features as well, especially, like I said, if you're into training and running on a regular basis, even swimming. The Apple Watch does a stellar job. The Apple Watch Ultra is not just for swimming, it's actually for divers, PADI certified divers. This is a certified dive computer, and we've shown you the Apple Watch underwater. The Garmin watch does a great job for swimming at least, and that we have tested as well. Let me tell you a few more features with the Garmin watch. Yes, it comes with an AMOLED screen. Yes, it comes with wrist-based running power or running dynamics. It also comes with multi-band GNSS, advanced training metrics, recovery insights, 30+ advanced sports modes, some of them which we've showed you already. If I just tap this button right here, you will get, all of these modes like run, track run, treadmill, yoga, HIIT, Pilates. Now just going on with that features list, of course it comes with advanced health monitoring and with music storage of up to 500 songs, smart notifications, and you can also customize the Connect. And given our lifestyles in the media and how we're running from pillar to post, to put all this content together and pull off some of the biggest events of the year like the Tech Today Congress, it also tells you how stressed you are. Even if you're in resting state, this often gave me a notification when I was stressing out a little too much, like we all do, we're all human. Final verdict on the Garmin Forerunner 265 at a price of over 50,000 rupees. It's more expensive than the standard Apple Watch, but of course it's cheaper than the Apple Watch Ultra. It gives you a battery life just in watch mode of nearly half a month, and that is praiseworthy about a wearable which costs 50,000 rupees. Now, is this a watch that can replace your standard wearable or an Apple Watch or a Samsung Galaxy Watch? My short answer, unfortunately, is no. This is meant for a very particular, specific type of consumer who is not just passionate about running or training, but is obsessed with it, wants that sort of data, and really doesn't mind being disconnected from the cellular world. The Garmin Forerunner 265 is a very interesting proposition, but yes, I'd wish that they'd be able to put all that data together, put it to better use, and then make it ubiquitous and accessible to all of us enthusiasts. Now, every year, people talk so much about the Apple event. And yes, there is an Apple event, a one more thing moment, but we saw with the last WWDC how they launched an Apple Vision Pro, and no one's really been able to shoot with it. The Americans don't know when it's coming to them, and we certainly don't know whether it's coming to India at all. The only other competitor to Apple events in terms of scale and of course in terms of innovation happens to be Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. This year, the one thing we know is it's happening in Korea. It's going to be an in-person event, but there's all sorts of leaks and rumors in terms of what are we going to get at that flagship event. We at Tech Today are super excited about it. Here's what we think we can expect at that particular event. And the only question I'm going to leave you with is, will you fold?
Welcome to Galaxy Unpacked.
Samsung's biggest annual event, Galaxy Unpacked, is likely to take place in July this year. Just like every year, it's expected to launch a handful of devices starting from foldable phones, tablets, smartwatches and the TWS earbuds. While the company has not really confirmed any of these products as yet, leaked images of the rumored devices are surely making the rounds on the internet. One of the biggest highlights of the Samsung launch event is this foldable smartphone. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 and Galaxy Z Fold 5 are expected to debut at the Galaxy Unpacked event. Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 is expected to have the same design as its predecessor, including the triple rear camera setup. It's also likely to come with support for S Pen, just like Galaxy Z Fold 4. It might feature 7.6-inch Amoled display that offers a 120Hz refresh rate and 6.2-inch AMOLED cover display. Galaxy Z Fold 5 may be powered by Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset and offers up to 1 TB storage and 12 GB RAM. For photography, it might come with a triple rear camera that includes a 50-megapixel primary sensor, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide angle lens and a 12-megapixel telephoto lens. For selfies, it's rumored to feature a 4-megapixel camera on the inner display and a 10-megapixel camera on the outer display. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 is expected to have a larger display. It will go up against the Moto Razr Ultra 40 and Oppo Find N2 foldable smartphones. The company is also expected to launch 2 new smartwatches at this event, Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 and the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. As per the leaked images, the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic smartwatch is expected to come with a rotating bezel, unlike Galaxy Watch 6. In fact, they are likely to come with the same circular design and different strap styles as well. Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra is confirmed to launch at the Galaxy Unpacked event. In addition to Ultra, Samsung might also launch S9 at this event. The Ultra model is likely to feature with the S Pen. This model is expected to be powered by 8 Gen 2 chipset. Lastly, Samsung might also of its Galaxy earbuds. Samsung Galaxy Earbuds 3 TWS earbuds are likely to look very similar to their previous generation. Not much has been really revealed about these earbuds yet, but as per leaked images, they will be available in white color option.
The Samsung Galaxy Fold. Now, each year that they come up with a new rendition, I keep asking myself, how can they get even better? Well, maybe this time around, I think this is a device which has almost reached the perfection stage, but maybe this particular crease can become absolutely invisible. The fact that it is water resistant is great, and also when you do shut the device, if this particular sort of gap can be reduced as well. It's very small things you can do. This is a very popular device, a very expensive device, and honestly, it's right up there in terms of foldables. But this is not all. In terms of what's happening in India, you have Techno Mobile, who've come up with their Phantom Fold device, a lot cheaper, half the price nearly, and then stock Android buffs were waiting for the Pixel Fold. Now, we haven't gotten it in India, but we've seen all sorts of videos coming out of the US of that particular device. Maybe it'll come to India soon. The OnePlus Foldable was something announced at Mobile World Congress earlier this year, and that's something we're excited about as well, because if OnePlus can come in and they can get it right with the implementation of Oxygen OS on a foldable and get the price point right, that might be a game-changing moment for foldables in India. Now, very, very exciting to see that there's so many developments in the smartphone space. Innovation is not dead, but we want to know what you think about this foldables revolution, so let's find out.
It was a couple of decades ago when Motorola single-handedly revolutionized the whole mobile phone industry when it launched the first foldable that we'd all ever first seen. But now these foldable phones are making a comeback. We saw Samsung revive this trend a couple of years ago, and now all the other companies are sort of hopping on this bandwagon. But are we, the people, ready for foldable phones to be a trend yet again? And mind you, it's only available in Android, not an iPhone. So would people be picking a foldable Android phone over an iPhone? We're here to find out. So if you had to pick between an iPhone and a foldable phone?
Foldable.
I will like a regular phone.
iPhone. I think iPhone is the best.
Foldable.
It would be a foldable phone.
I would choose a non-foldable.
Well, I would prefer a foldable phone.
As a clumsy person itself, I will prefer a regular phone.
what would you pick? Would you flip, fold or nothing, or just go with an iPhone? Or would you want an iPhone that's foldable?
Currently nothing, because I think the hinge mechanism is not there yet, and maybe right now the foldable phones are pricing only at the flagship level. So if they price it at mid-range level, then maybe I will consider them, but till then not.
Because like sure, it's like nice to see new technology, but I don't find it that useful. Like yeah, there's some cool features like, oh, you can flip it, it's like compact, but then like I don't find those features useful. Plus like it might cost a bit extra, so like better to just stick with a standard one.
I would prefer a regular phone itself, because I feel the flip phone are much heavier to handle, and again it creases very easily.
Fold is technically very big for my hand and it's very heavy, so I will prefer flip.
The main problem is fragility of the phone. If it falls, it can be shattered.
It is like we have to handle it with care. The repair cost goes up to 50 to 60,000.
Buying an Apple foldable or just generally no?
I think other companies have already like come with like Samsung, the hinge technology, the Motorola has like great technology. I feel like Apple, by doing it, it does go ahead, but would not make a big difference since it's already been worked on for like.
But now that Google, OnePlus, Oppo, everyone has gotten into this foldable race, would you want to give it a chance?
I wouldn't mind to give it a try, but then again looking towards the people's experiences, after some point of time there are drawbacks of the foldable phone. So I feel the regular phones are much more long lasting, and again it also depends upon the function. Like if I want to use it for, I need a bigger pad, because if I'm a sketcher or anything, so foldable phone are much more will come handy to me. So hence at that moment I'll prefer a foldable phone.
Concerns regarding the hinges, the glass and the body, and even affordability. These are the leading concerns of the youth of Mumbai that we just spoke to when it comes to a foldable phone. But with such big names like Google, OnePlus throwing their hat in the ring for the foldable phone, it is only for the time to tell which one will succeed. But it sure is safe to say that the foldable technology is here to stay and advance. Back to you, Ayush.
iPad. Get yourself an iPad. Well, you want to get an iPad Air maybe? iPad. I think you should get an iPad. I think you should get the iPad Pro if you're being really luxurious. No, an iPad Air or an iPad 9th generation for you. Well, that used to be my standard default response if anyone asked me whether they should pick up a new tablet and which one it should be, because there wasn't much competition from the Android guys. But then a few weeks ago, we saw the OnePlus Pad, exclusively a first look and a review on Tech Today. And we were in the Delhi studio with the team, and all of us, with the colors on that, the output and the performance, mind equal to blown with what OnePlus had done with its tablet. And then every time there's a revolution coming, well, you need a captain of the ship, but it's nice to have, well, two pilots in the cockpit. And what if I told you that I just found my second pilot to drive the Android tablet revolution forward, the Xiaomi Pad 6. And honestly, the iPad has a lot of competition with this monster. Look, taking on the iPad is not an easy task. When it comes to software, iPadOS is spot on. Can it get better, maybe become more like macOS? That's a pipe dream. Android has a long way to go, but that's nothing to blame the Android tablet guys. It's Google that needs to work on that. From the hardware side, that's where companies like Xiaomi and OnePlus can come in. And yes, the OnePlus Pad look good, but this particular device looks like a Xiaomi 13 Pro from the outside with this camera module. It has a 13 megapixel shooter. In terms of design, yes, it's an 11-inch screen. I'll tell you a little bit more about the display. You have a speaker set up here and then down here as well. Of course, it comes with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos support in a tablet, which I'm telling you now comes at a very attractive price. But if you're taking on the iPad, no fingerprint scanner or touch ID, and of course no headphone jack in the Pad 6. But when we're talking about this particular sort of form factor, what's really good now, and we're going to come to the display, is that they've given you a camera here in landscape mode. So if you placed it on a keyboard, which is an add-on accessory with this particular device, then when you are looking at the camera or at your subject during a Zoom call, you're not looking away from them, as opposed to on the iPad. I always end up looking a little weird and wonky in terms of my line of sight or vision. With this particular device, the display is something we must talk about. Yes, it's an LCD display, but it is capable of a lot. But since we're talking about this particular layout, yes, it comes with an LCD display. It's not an Amoled, but with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos support at this price point, watching content on it is almost comparable to an iPad Air. Well, honestly, when I heard this had an LCD display, I did have a few reservations, but now when I'm watching content on it, this particular aspect ratio, 144Hz refresh rate, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, this 4-speaker setup on the Xiaomi Pad 6, it does a stellar job when you're watching content, and I can see myself using this on flights and stuff like that, because it's the perfect size to maybe slip into your laptop sleeve pocket or even in your hand baggage, and it really is quite a good display, even though it's an LCD display. But that's of course if you're watching OTT content on this particular device. If you want this to be a productivity device, you'll have to purchase 2 accessories. Number 1 being the keyboard, and number 2 being this particular stylus or pencil. I find it very interesting that the pencil works fine, very low latency. I could write your favorite technology showdown in less than, well, 5 seconds. Now the keyboard cover that I'm talking about costs nearly 5,000 rupees, and then this smart pen costs 5,000 to 6,000 rupees as well, which snaps on quite well over here. If you're using this entire setup, you're going to have to purchase these additionally over and above the Xiaomi tablet. Now let's get to the price, and then you'll get a simple one-line verdict as well. Now in terms of the price, this tablet costs anywhere between 27,000 to 29,000 rupees. You can get a bunch of offers and maybe bring that down to 24,000 to 25,000 rupees depending on which version you're getting, the 6 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs of RAM. And if you add on both accessories, the pen and the keyboard, that's another 11,000 rupees. So in under 40,000 rupees, you could get the entire setup with all the bells and whistles in the Xiaomi ecosystem, as compared to maybe an iPad. If you bought an iPad with its keyboard and pencil, you'd be spending a lot more. But yes, when you're comparing it to the other Android tablets, even the OnePlus Pad for that matter, 1, you'd be saving money, 2, it honestly gets the job done. It's a value for money offering. In Tech Today parlance, the Xiaomi Pad is a step in the right direction and truly a bang for your buck. Well, I'm smiling for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it's been an action-packed episode. Number 2, as much as I love traveling, and there's a lot more traveling left on the show in the next few weeks, I'm always happy to get back to the Tech Today headquarters and put this show together for you. The team has loved putting it together as well. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Do let us know. This is our social media, and that's my Instagram handle in case you want to tell us a little bit about the show, about how we can make it better, things you like, things you didn't like. And until next week, when we put all of this together for you, yet again, an action-packed episode, I'm your host Ayush Alavadi saying adios.